Now, if you want it all, I'll give it back. If you
Early that morning, multiple patrol units rushed toward a neighborhood after a frantic 911 call reported several gunshots had just been fired. The speed of the responding officers made one thing clear. Whatever had happened was extremely serious. As police arrived, concerned neighbors waved them toward the scene. What they found was chaotic. A victim lay motionless on the ground while another person desperately performed CPR. But before we get to that moment, here's how it all began.
Where you going? You just try to come to my house with fake ass money and try to rob me? You play that kind of
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, gonna give all praises and glories due Kwahala. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Rakwakadash. Much love and respect to the elders and apostles, bishops, of Great Millstone. Also, much love and respect to all you Akim all around the world doing this work in sincerity and truth. And Shalom to the few sisters listening in silence to the spirit and power of our Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So I wanted to do a lesson on this. I was just browsing through, and this just came up on the feed here. So I was just watching this, and here it is that you have this Edomite, that was following this Jake right here, pissed off because he was the Jake was paying, giving him money for, counterfeit money for a dirt bike that he was selling off of Facebook. So rather than, and the thing is, the Jake didn't even get the dirt bike. All right, he didn't even get the dirt bike. So what was the point of this Edomite following this Jake, and chasing them down the street for what? I mean, the wisest thing you would do is just stay back and just, whatever, call the authorities, or on them and give the description on them, or just warn other people of this Jake. But he didn't do that. Why? Because of his pride. All right, and you're gonna see how proud this devil is. Following this Jake, which led up to his deletion, all right, by this Jake. So I'm just gonna play it and gonna see it. Once again, this is fair use,
game?
I can give you a red money.
You play that game?
No, let me install something.
No, you.
All right, then.
Bro, I'm recording you right now. You're going on Facebook. Police are on their way right now.
All right, bro. Good, bro.
Why would you just hand me fake money like that? What was your deal? Where's your buddy at? Where's the truck that just dropped you? No, the truck came in here. I know that goddamn truck. That wasn't a goddamn Uber, motherfucker.
That was an Uber, bro.
That's not an Uber. Don't worry, I'm gonna get the tag number too, because you got counterfeit money on you. Give me the bag. Give me the bag. Give me the bag.
All right, bro. Go, bro.
Give me the bag. You got weed in here too? What's that jar in here? What's that jar of drugs in here? Motherfucker.
So now this Edomite proceeds to rob him and take his shit, his stuff. For what? Why are you taking his stuff for? And here it is, the Jake.
What's your name, huh?
Here it is, the Jake is just being calm and collective, not knowing that this Edomite doesn't have any idea of what he's about to get himself into, or what he's walked into so far. All right. And Jake is just calm, just walking down the street and, keeping his cool, But this Edomite is still being proud, just because he got his bag from him and all of that, But, let me play on.
I got your name and everything on Facebook. Give me the phone. Give me your fucking phone. Give me your goddamn phone. Now. Motherfucker. Give me your fucking phone. Give me your fucking phone. Drop it. Drop it.
So now the Jake hands him his phone now after, you know, the Edomite is demanding his phone now. You know, he hands him the phone, takes his phone, has his bag, takes his phone now. Now what? What are you going to do next? You know, are you going to take his clothes from him too? You know, but, you know, at this point right now, you know, Jake done had enough now. And, you know.
You too. You go, man.
Now, if you want it all, I'll give it back. If you
So there you go. So at that point, Jake just had enough, and he ended up pulling out that 45 automatic handgun, and, you know, and he lit him up. All right, deleted him. All right, but you see, that was the pride of Esau right there. All right, his pride had deceived him, you know. So then here it is. You have on the comment board. You had this first comment right here. Dude was reckless following this criminal and taking his stuff. You see that? Another one. He still had the bike. He should have just called the cops, you know? Another one. If one is going to rob you, you have to think that he's armed. Another one. All he had to do was call the cops and let them do their job. Another one. Man, that guy committed suicide. Another one. Dude thought he was Captain America before those shots went off. Damn. Another one. Man, this is a perfect example of what not to do in this type of situation. Another one. Shaking someone down with a gun is nuts. Another one. He was basically robbing the robber, not a smart move. Another one. Backing a criminal into a corner while continuing to press him would inevitably lead to a unnecessary confrontation. You see that? Another one. Why would he chase after him when he still had the bike? What a dumbass move. You see that? So even people are clowning him. You know what I'm saying? But the thing was, it was his pride. All right? Esau was proud. All right? You know, his pride, you know, led to his demise. That's the pride of Esau. But you see, right now, nobody's taking the shit no more. You know, these other nations, you know, and, you know, Jake, all right? Everybody's coming up against this Edomite, all right? Because we're living in the time of his judgment. Okay? So that's why this happened, all right? That was judgment of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua upon him, all right? That was his pride. So because he was proud, you know what I'm saying, you know, that's what happened to him. All right. So I'm going to play some more.
According to investigators, the victim had been trying to sell a dirt bike. Surveillance footage showed potential buyers arriving at the house that morning. The seller appeared excited, but then everything changed. At one point, the victim suddenly ran down the street, appearing to chase someone. Moments later, his wife rushed outside and called 911. But by then, it was already too late.
So Josh called me. He said, call the police. He handed me fake money. He hung up on me. But at that time, I walked outside to look to see if I saw anybody, and I didn't see anybody. And we hear about 6 to 7 gunshots. And I ran outside. I got to jump.
And here it is. His wife doesn't even desire him. All right. His wife doesn't even desire him because, you know, later on in the interview, though it seemed like she was crying right here.
In my car, and I drove up there, and so I saw him laying on the ground.
So though it seemed like she was crying right there, but later on, fast forward into the interview, she starts laughing for no reason. So I'm gonna play it right here. Yeah, right there.
Neighborhood, it was a tragedy no one saw coming. Yet investigators noticed something unusual. During one interview, the victim's wife appeared to laugh several times. Totally surprising behavior.
Right, yeah.
But perhaps the most
See
disturbing
that?
part
You know, she starts laughing because she knows that she gonna get paid. All right, she knows she gonna get paid off of this. You know, but you see, she didn't even love this man. Because why would you be laughing in the middle of an interview while you got you know, while your husband is deleted, gone? All right, why would you laugh? All right, but you see, that goes back in the scriptures of Job. You know, not even their woman is gonna desire them. You know, their widows shall not weep. All right, though it may seem like she was weeping earlier, but no, that was all fake. You know, but now later on in the interview, she laughing. All right, laughing. Why? Because she knows she's gonna get paid. That's why. All right. But let me get the scriptures though. Going to the book of. Let's go to Proverbs 16 and 18. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 18. It reads, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before it fall." You see? Better is it to be of a humble spirit with a lowly than to divide the spoils with the proud. You see that? So he was proud. You know, his pride has deceived him. You know, he allowed his pride to cloud his common sense, which led to his demise. You know, so he thought he was big and bad, and, you know, taking the Jake's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Robbing him. You know, then his pride and his ego just got even bigger after that. After he took his bag, so he's like, okay, I got his bag now. Let me take his phone. You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, he took the Jake's phone, and that was it. You know, Jake was like, fuck this. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough, you know. And then ended up pulling the Most High, put the spirit on him. You know, that death angel spirit on him. And he ended up pulling out that 45, you know, and lit him up. So that was his pride. All right. Eventually, they caught the Jake, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go too much into the video, but, you know, they caught him. And pretty much he's doing 9 years, you know, then they're going to deport him for manslaughter, so to say. But anyway, you know, that was his pride. You know, that's how proud that Edomite was. You know, he thought he could get this Jake, you know, and his pride, you know, and that cost him. You know, that cost him dearly, you know. So, you know, it was his pride that deceived him. So let's get another scripture here in Obadiah. So Obadiah chapter 1, verse 3. "The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cluster of the rock," you know. So his pride, you know, have deceived him. All right. Talking to that Edomite right there, because you Edomites, y'all some proud people. Y'all some proud motherfuckers, you know. All right. So because of your pride and because of your pride, you know, that's what cost you, you know, in that video, you know. So right now, you know, things are changing and judgment is coming upon you Edomites now. And here it is, you know, you had your wife there. She wasn't even weeping for you like she should have been, you know. So not even your own woman is even desiring you. All right. So you see a prime example of that right here in this video. All right. But, you know, But that's what he gets, you know. He wanted to be big and bad. And look what happened to him. He got lit up. All right? He got lit up because of his pride, his arrogance, okay? So what was the point of taking Jake's stuff and telling him, oh, if you want it all, I'll give it back? What was the point? You already had the bike. There was no need to chase the Jake down the street and take his shit. For what? But you see, that was his pride that got to him, you know? Not knowing that Jake had a concealed, you know what I'm saying, weapon on him. You know? So, you know, Esau, he should have just, you know, went to called the authorities, waited for the authorities, and reported the incident right there. That's what he should have done. But, you know, his pride, he thought he was the authority, you know, because of his pride. All right? So that's what cost him. So with that, I'm going to leave it there, you know. Going to give all praises and glories due to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakwakwadash, Shalom.